How many of you here have a major goal that you want to achieve? Raise your hands, please. How many of you know it's a good idea in order to use the emotions of life in order for us to make the best use of our journey to success? Raise your hands, please. Mr. Toastmaster, my fellow friends and guests, success is very possible for every single one of us. But what I found that without strong emotion and pain, you will not have a driver that will move you towards your ideal. You won't be inspired, so to say. And before you can get to your place of success, you're going to need something I call the day that turns your life around. A certain man finally takes a shotgun to his car. He blows out every window, he destroys every tire, he puts 100 rounds into this shabby old thing, and he says, I have driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And not only will I never drive it again, but nobody else will ever drive it again. And he lets that shuddering thing stand there as a monument to the day he said, today my life changes. Now who can do this? Anybody. When can you do this? Whatever day you pick. For him, that was a day that turned his life around. This man also had a friend who was also sick and tired of his current situation. He said, I've had it with being broke and being a loser. He's had it with these awful sick feelings inside, knowing that his wife is at the grocery store looking at 2 cans of beans. One marked 37 rand, one marked 39 rand. And the man is sick inside because he knows his wife is going to choose the one marked 37 rand. Do you know why she's going to do so? To save 2 rand. The man finally says, I've had it. That was a powerful day for him. He goes into his cupboard, takes all his rags out, and he rips them to shreds. And he says, I've worn these embarrassing rags for the last time. And not only will I never wear them again, but nobody else will wear them again. For that man, that was a day that turned his life around. Every single one of us here have failed and felt pain. And when you ask people, why is it that you fail, they'll give you the same answers. I did not have enough time. I did not have enough money. I did not have the right people. I did not have the right government. Let's not go there. I did not have the right politicians. But what they tell you is that they did not have the right resources, which is a lie. Because the reason that you've ever failed was not because you didn't have enough time, money, people, right government, or politicians. It is because you lacked the resourcefulness, and this resourcefulness is called human emotion. And that comes from the day that turns your life around. When this day finally comes, it is marked by 4 things. The first one is called disgust. When you finally get to the day where I said, I've had it! I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Something is going to change in my life, and it's going to change right now. The second thing is a desire. They say when you want something as bad as you want to breathe, then you will have it. The third thing that they tell you is that you have to have is resolve. And resolve is marked by 2 words. I will. A certain high school student was asked, what does resolve mean? And she said, promising yourself that you will never give up. That's some great advice. I don't know where she is right now. She's probably giving seminars wherever it is that she is, but with such great wisdom. Promising yourself that you will never give up. I remember the day I had, the day that turned my life around. I'll forever be known for this. I was 12 years old. I had just barely made it past grade 6, and I got a report that said that I had managed to get a whopping 22% for maths. 22%! That means if I'm counting something, I'm only going to be right 22% of the time. That's why I stayed away from the chartered accountant profession, because I didn't want to get things wrong. The only time I'm good with money is when you owe me money. That's the only time. And I gave this report to my dad, And then he looked at me as if, you know that look that you give food that arrives at the table that you didn't order? Like, what's going on here? And then he said to me, Jawud, let's go for a drive. The fear that went through my body at that time. I said my prayers to God. I was like, God, please forgive me for my sins because I'm about to be knocking at your door momentarily. So we got into the car and we started driving. We drove and drove and drove. 5 minutes went by. 10 minutes went by. 11 minutes. 12 minutes. Then 15 minutes. We drove in silence for 30 minutes. He was probably driving at 80 kilometers an hour. It was the longest drive of my life. Then finally he broke the silence. That's how parents are. You know they're angry at you. Njabul, are you ever going to make it to university? I don't know, Dad. You make it to university because you work hard, not because you are handsome. He instructed us to get out the car, so we did. And he stopped in front of my grandmother's house, who has now passed away. And my dad told me the story about the day that he found out that he would have to do grade 8 again for the 4th time. He loved it that much, apparently. His nickname was Killer back in the day. Yes, he has been to prison, but not for the reason that you're thinking. He used to be part of a cool crew, never used to study, and never, it was always going out. And his brothers, all 6 of them, and his mother, looked at him and said, "Right, Killer, what are you going to do now?" And they said it with a tone of disappointment. So after that, he got his bachelor's degree, honors degree, master's degree, mega bank account, MBA, and his PhD. And he said, his mother told him, if you don't work hard at school, you are going to die like a dog. So he worked hard and made sure it didn't happen. So when I got back home, I cried like a professional mourner. And I promised myself at that day that I was never going to be that 22% man again. Since then, I successfully went through matric, got my undergraduate degree, got my honors degree, got my DTM, launched my book, Toastmasters Discount Applies. And now I'm on my journey hoping to go to do an Ivy League MBA one day. I always look back on that day with my dad. It used to be a day I used to dread and I was afraid of. But now I used all the emotions from that day to uplift myself to greater heights. It makes me look much taller now. And I say to you, when are you going to get to the day that turns your life around? When are you going to be tired of your current situation? Not being able to speak in front of people, not being on time. I see my time's there, but not being on time. I pray to you and I say to you, be inspired by your pain. Be disgusted. Make a decision. Have the desire. And once you've got there, have the resolve. Because the only thing that will lead you to great success for yourself, for your employees, and at home is when you use the emotions that come from the day that turns your life around.